Hey, welcome in Huntsville. Another wonderful good morning to you. Thanks for waking up with us. What do you love about Huntsville? What makes this a great place to be?
Everyone here is very genuine and very kind and friendly. You never hesitate to speak up and say hello or good morning or just acknowledge the person walking by.
The thing that I love most about Huntsville, I love the peace that Huntsville brings. I love the peace that it gives me.
I feel accepted and part of the town and like I belong here.
Huntsville is where my lovely wife lived when I met her, so I moved here. So I'm pretty thankful for her.
All right.
We're bucking for you in Huntsville, Texas.
Hello, I'm Billy Coppin, the Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home.
Hey, it's Kay Boating with Tomorrow's Provost Montessori Schools.
Good morning, Huntsville.
Good morning.
Hey, I'm Karen.
I'm Toy. And I'm Denise.
And from all of us at Walker County Federal Credit Union, good morning, Huntsville.
I'm letting Karen, we don't have the camera on yet. I'm letting Karen do some work this morning. You know, some extra work. Here we go. I had to pay her big money for what she just did. And I'm broke now, Karen. I ain't going to be able to pay my loan this month. It's a credit union. I'm sorry.
I guess I'll have to give it back then.
Yeah. You know, so a friend of mine told me back in the day, everything that we have is the Lord's, and it's just ours to give back away. And I said, does that include my debt?
Right.
'Cause I'll just gladly give that away.
Yes, me too.
Whoever would like it. Welcome in. Look, we got a little purple going this morning, Karen. See,
I like it.
You like that?
Purple's one of my favorite colors.
We redid the studio a little bit, and if I go to you, look at that glow.
Ooh, I like that.
See?
Very pretty.
We're trying to up it a little bit here. I didn't want to get stagnant. You know, we're let's take a look at the counter real quick. We are 573 episodes into this now.
Woohoo.
And it
seems like yesterday.
It does, doesn't it?
It does.
And the good old Paulie studio over there.
Yes. And it was always hot in there.
Oh, well, you know, we still kept the heat,
Yeah.
didn't we? It's a little bit better over here.
It is better. We got a fan over here.
Yeah, I brought Karen a fan, so we got that going. But we are slowly, what's the old Sanford and Son, moving on up. Remember that?
That's
back in
the Jeffersons.
Jeffersons, yeah.
Yeah.
I forget which one it was.
Yeah, Sanford and Son wasn't moving on up.
They're moving on.
But the Jeffersons were.
Jeffersons were. So we are moving on up here at the Hello Huntsville studio. So our friend Darren Grant's here. He was singing the song. I saw him. He was
Moving
singing
on up.
He was singing the song. So we're
That's Sanford and Son.
yeah.
I love that show.
We're gonna get those going here before too long. Maybe we'll incorporate that on the new intro that our friend Madeline has been working on for us. We're waiting on some footage. I was hoping to get some footage from Sam Houston State University athletic department that we can use, and then I'm also hoping to get some footage from Huntsville ISD. Those are really the last two little components that we're waiting on, because that intro, that's such a huge part of this community, is the university,
Most definitely.
School district. Maybe I need to go over to the Walls unit and just see if they'll let me film. That's a big part of the community too.
Yes, it is.
Well, hey, we want to welcome you in. Thanks for hanging out with us here on this
Non-Mimosa Monday.
That's right, episode number 573. as we get rolling here this morning. We want to welcome you in, as always. Big thank you to Elliot Herzlich from Elliot's Jewelers, online at elliotsjewelers.com. And a special shout-out, of course, to Karen Denman and our friends at Walker County Federal Credit Union. They are your full-service community credit union, serving Walker County since 1957. Well, as we always talk about, so much going on here in Huntsville. I'm going to start real quick. I did go to Humphreys on Friday. We've renamed the Billy Cawthon Restaurant Report to the Billy Cawthon Lunch Bunch.
Okay.
The reason is that we're always positive on this show, and we felt that the restaurant report was sometimes not accurate. Not bashing any local business, but we did go to a few places that just there wasn't much to report on. And I don't mean it rudely,
Right.
But we had to be positive, and so Billy was saying, "Well, the door opened."
Yes.
And so if the door opened, then that was a positive.
And Billy came to our reverse steak dinner
was
this
gonna
weekend.
yeah.
I saw him there. So thank you, Billy, for supporting Walker County Go Texan.
Yeah, well, I want to talk to you about that in a moment. I know that was a big turnout. The Humphreys, we went on Friday. Frank Robinson has been telling me forever that you need to go to Humphreys and get a steak over there.
They did our steaks, did our whole dinner for the steak dinner this weekend.
George and those
did
guys
a great job.
Yeah, they do a fantastic job. And I did have a Humphrey steak, and it was pretty good.
Yes.
I will go back and eat it. So, but there is one thing I've been. There's a place that I go that I just I wasn't being biased, but they're still my favorite steaks, and they are still maybe my favorite, just by an inch though. Just by an inch. The Humphrey steak is good. I will go back. Frank, I wanted to come back and report it was a great steak. I will be back and I will eat it again.
Yeah, I'm not a steak person, so I don't really know a good one from a bad one. But anyway, there's that.
The good steaks are when they're a little bit mooing still.
Oh, no.
A little bit of a moo.
No, absolutely not.
Little bit of a moo. A good steak is one that you don't have to put anything on it, by the way. You don't have to. You can seasoning, of course, but you don't have to put
steak sauce.
Steak A1. Come on, guys.
I love A1.
I do too, but come on. I have switched from A1 to horseradish cream.
Really?
Have you ever had it?
I've had horseradish. Makes your nose burn.
Horseradish.
Horseradish.
Oh, it sounds like some Sean Connery was trying. Horseradish. I am the last one. I ate the horseradish cream. Horseradish cream. My beautiful bride got me hooked on that years ago, and it's funny. I'll go to some restaurants, and I don't use steak sauce anymore. I use horseradish cream, and it really does. It adds a little oomph to it, but. I will never again put A1 steak sauce on a steak. It's horseradish cream. I went to so many restaurants and I'll ask them, "Hey, do you have any horseradish cream?" "Oh, no, sir, we don't have that."
I don't know that I've ever heard of that.
No, and see, I didn't know about it until I met Bridget years ago. I'll take a deep breath when they say, "No, sir, we don't have that." I'll take a very deep breath, and I'll just kind of refrain from I'm a pretty positive, upbeat guy most of the time, so I'll refrain. I'll hold back. Because sometimes they just don't know, and like you, I didn't. I didn't know.
I've never heard of it.
But
I've heard of horseradish, but not cream.
See, in the restaurant business, though, they should know these things. That's something that's known when you're, especially at a steakhouse. Horseradish cream is kind of it's a known thing at a steak place. So I'll take it. One time I went over to a place and, "Oh, well, I don't know what that is, sir. We don't have that." I took a very deep breath and I said, "Do you have horseradish?" "Oh, yes, we have horseradish." I said, "Do you have sour cream?" "Oh, yes, we have that." "That's horseradish cream."
Oh, okay.
So, and then she goes, "Oh, yes, we do have that."
Yeah, I can see those two mixed together.
And that was it. And
that might be good.
I'm getting a thumbs down though. We'll talk to Darren about this in a moment.
Evidently, he's not a sour cream fan or horseradish.
He's not a horseradisher. Well. See, he's mentioning a sauce at 1830. We'll have him on to talk about this in a few moments. This is why he was coming to give us some updates on what's going on in the community and different things, but we're going to take the direction of steak sauce this morning. We're going to 180 another way here this morning. So, well, hey, we do want to welcome all of you in. Thanks for hanging out with us this morning. As always, it's a joy and it really is a privilege to be able to chat with you on these non-mimosa Mondays, as Karen calls it, and I call it. It's a lot of fun, though. It's a marvelous Monday, a magnificent Monday as well, and it's a great way to start your week as we're looking forward to a new week here in our community. School is back in session. Have you got behind?
Yes, it is.
You got behind a school bus yet?
Not a school bus, but the traffic is atrocious. Yes.
It was strange, and it's not like a bad thing. It's a great thing. we had a baptism here at church yesterday, and, you know, the Lord has been so good to this church and our community. I mean, we're seeing so much growth in churches all across the community, which is a great thing. And as I was giving announcements yesterday morning, I had noticed, I felt kind of bad because I normally greet people and welcome them in. We have a great team that does that too. It's not me. I mean, there's people that do way more than I do on that front. But I felt kind of bad because you're in the middle. You've been talking, and then something kind of catches your attention, and you want to do something, but you can't because you're in the middle. That's where I was at yesterday.
Yeah.
And a family had walked in, and there was nowhere for them to sit.
Oh, that's a good thing.
Yes,
that's a good problem
I
to have.
I said, we got to open up the balcony. The balcony ain't been open since Sam Houston and Martha, back in the day. So we're gonna have to open the balcony back up here at First Baptist. But no, it was good. There ended up being a seat for them. But I saw a family come in. We're just tremendously blessed. We're seeing a lot of great things happening here at First, and like I said, all across the community. It's always my prayer that every church in our community is just overflowing with people, because that's a good thing, to have folks connected on Sunday, and it's just one thing that I love. You and I were talking about Huntsville before we got on the air this morning, and I don't mean this rudely. I'm definitely not meaning this rudely, because I think this is a great way to sum up Huntsville. It's not a super easy place if you want to make great money. I mean, you can make a living here, but if you want to come here and hit a gold mine like you just think you struck Bitcoin back in 2010, that ain't going to happen. But here's what I love about it, and I don't say that rudely. You gotta let me see if someone just took the one blurb, I'm going to say it could, like the media frequently does, this could not be good. But here's what I love about that.
Got to hear the whole story.
That's right. Paul Harvey's here's
The rest of the story.
Rest of the story. The rest of the story is this community puts so much more value on monetary things. Huntsville puts so much value on family and friends and community, and there's no price for that. And I was thinking about that the other day. I said, I could probably go back to Georgetown and get a great job making really good money and all that. But I started thinking, this is right where the Lord has me, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, because I get to be around my family, and I'm around a community that supports each other, that loves each other, and that's always going to help out each other. And I'm not saying that wouldn't happen in my hometown where I grew up, but I've learned, and this is the inspiration this morning, friends. And I'm not saying there's some jobs out there you can make great money here in Huntsville. It's just certain things that it's a little bit tougher to do. But what I love is the importance of community and family and faith that you're not going to find in a lot of other communities throughout the state. And I don't mean that in a negative way towards a lot of places. But there is something extremely unique. And I would encourage any young person, especially, any retiree, anybody, if you're looking for a place, especially young people, to raise a family, I just couldn't think of a better place than right here in Huntsville, Texas.
I agree.
There's so much to do for young people, even though a lot of young people would say, well, there ain't much to do. The natural beauty here is just absolutely amazing. When you go to the state park, even when you get on 45, even on the highway and you drive, you get on the highway where I grew up now, you're seeing buildings everywhere.
You'll be stuck in traffic.
You'll be on traffic and seeing now you'll be stuck in traffic here
on 11th Street.
On the old Smither Bridge, which is reopened. We were joking about that, too, this week. And I said, man, I wish they'd just close that back up, because things were going really fast through there. But they're still working on the turnarounds.
And that's TxDOT, by the way.
Yeah. And a really
so don't fuss at the city.
Yeah, don't fuss at the city, and don't fuss at TxDOT either, by the way, please, because my neighbor works for TxDOT. He's a great man. He's over a lot of that project.
And they're trying to alleviate the problems, and so there has to be some hiccups along the way, but it'll be all right.
That's right. Sometimes, like if you're like me, when you cough, you get the hiccups, and then you drink some water and everything goes away. So just drink a little bit of water, let the hiccups settle down. You'll quit coughing, everything will be fine. But no, I really do mean that, and that's why I wanted to make sure that folks stay latched on to the full idea, to the full story, because this is such a unique community. My children are doing so great here, and there's so much for them. We have so many beautiful neighborhoods, too. I mean, anywhere that you want to live in Huntsville, there's just the trees. It doesn't matter if you're in Elkins Lake or if you're in downtown. Just get out and look. And that's something I want to challenge people to do today as we get into these routines. And I'll raise my hand first. I'm so guilty of this, of getting in this routine, getting in my truck, driving to do this show, hitting the gas pedal from the moment I get out of bed, and then not letting off that gas pedal until I go to sleep at night, and then forgetting about all the blessings that we have here in this area. Because there are so many of them, Karen.
There are.
So many. And it's a blessing to sit next to you on a Monday, by the way.
Thank you.
So thank you, Karen. Good to have you
And
on.
speaking of joy, my mother, she's going to be down here this weekend, her and her friend Betty. So I'm so excited. If you're watching, Mom, I'm glad you're coming down here. Can't wait to see you.
Well, I'm going to have to take your mom out to lunch one of these
Yes.
days if she has an extended visit.
Yes.
So maybe she can win some Cafe Texan from us.
Yes, she
Yeah.
still has the gift card that she won from before. I've still got it in my car.
See? That's a great daughter, by the way. Hadn't even used her mama's gift
I
card.
know
that
it.
she
And I
won.
told Russell, I said, Mama's never going to use this. We could probably go eat.
Then Russell said, we ain't doing that to your mama. There ain't no way that's going to happen. Well, hey, do us a favor. Let us know that you're out there this morning and what you're thankful for as you're waking up here on this Monday. I did want to highlight real quick. We'll have Darren on here in just a few moments. I wanted to highlight this weekend, Karen. I mentioned the Humphreys, went over, had a steak. I saw one of my most favorite people in Huntsville. And I got to be careful because I have a lot of favorite people in Huntsville. But this is truly one of my one that tugs at my heart every time I see her.
And I miss her. When we were at the old place, she'd drive by and honk at us every morning.
It's a riddle. Who am I talking about? She has a mama named Lupe who apparently is 90-something years old, but that's another thing about Huntsville is everybody lies about their age because I've talked to so many people. Molly here at our church, she's in her 80s. And I said, Molly, you're lying. You're in your 60s. Lupe's probably 62, you know.
She is 90, and I know this because Irma and her husband and Miss Lupe are going to the Sam Houston game in Hawaii.
That's
and
right.
Miss Lupe's never flown. So I told Irma, I said, just take her by the little bar before y'all get on the plane and let her have a
something
margarita. She'll calm down a little bit.
Well, that is the riddle. The lady that I ran to is Irma, and one of my favorite things to do when I was broadcasting Sam Houston games is I had a segment that, man, I wish they still did this stuff because, in broadcasting, it really is all about engagement with people. Anybody can get on the microphone and talk and do all that, but I think in broadcast, especially nowadays, you got to find ways to kind of go the extra mile. The extra mile for me was before the games, I would take my recorder and I would go down into the stands at Bauer Stadium. And I had a segment on my pregame show for the Bearcats called Fans in the Stands. And I remember.
I like that, Fans in the Stands.
Yeah, I remember Brian Adams and I were just sitting up there twiddling our thumbs. I said, Brian, and this is what I miss because back in the day when I was at the station, we had the creative rights to do things. So if we wanted to do something, we just thought of it on the fly and we did it. And I remember Brian and I were just up there twiddling our thumbs, waiting on stuff to start up. And I said, man, I feel like I'm just sitting up here doing nothing. Because we got up there early, we were prepared. I said, I'm going to start a new segment. He goes, what do you mean you're going to start a new segment? When are you going to do it? I said, today. And he looked at me like, today? I said, yeah. And so I took my recorder down there, and I just randomly went up to somebody, and I said, hey, how long have you been a Bearcat? How long have you been coming to the games? And that started the Fans in the Stands segment.
I like that.
Well, that is where I met Miss Lupe, by the way. They used to tailgate, and they probably still do.
Oh, yes,
all
they
the
do.
games.
They're big Bearcat fans.
And so I started going down to the tailgate, and that's where I met Miss Lupe, and I was able to interview her and Irma, and that developed a special friendship that to this day I'm so blessed to still
And Irma's
have.
on our committee, on our Go Texan committee.
So
yes,
that is who I ran into, and she was telling me about the Walker County area Go Texan. She's been helping, been a part of that. Tell us how it went. It was a great steak fry.
it was.
This weekend.
It was. Doors opened at 5:30. I think we ended up with 33 desserts for auction. They all we put on their bids, or you could buy it now, and a lot of them got bought now because people wanted to be sure they got their favorite dessert. And we did have a winner. I don't know if you're familiar with Mr. Phil Miller, but he was our reverse raffle winner. So it was just exciting. It was fun. Everybody had a great time.
Phil Miller, how much did Phil Miller take home? Are we allowed to
$5,000.
Woo, Phil! Hey, Phil! Hey, buddy! Boy, I haven't talked to old Phil in a long, buddy. I miss you, man. It's been about 38 years. You know how people do that? They come out of the woodworks. There was a guy in Georgetown there in Williamson County, former sheriff of Williamson County, by the way. He used to work for APD, for Austin Police Department. His wife decided to buy a Mega Millions ticket one day just randomly, and guess who won the Mega Millions?
Did she really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And
nice.
they stay married. So, he got to partake in the winnings with his wife.
That would be so nice.
And here's the deal, though. You know what he did? Instead of just saying, okay, cool, I'm going to just kick back and call it a day, he ended up running for sheriff. The guy didn't need to. He ran for sheriff and won and became the sheriff of Williamson County. Mega Millions winner. Won the
what was his name?
Robert Chody.
Okay.
And there was and I won't get into it. There was some controversy surrounding him. It's why that police show Live PD actually went off the air because some stuff that happened there, unfortunately. But
Oops.
and I knew him a little bit. I wasn't very close to him, but I knew him a little bit, and I always felt he was a great guy. To be honest, I think there were some things that went on though that were just weren't the greatest of things, unfortunately. But I don't have anything because I don't know the full details of things. I just know the man that I saw, and he was always a really great guy. But anyways, he won the Mega Millions, and I remember he was talking. He goes, "Man, there's people that I'd maybe shook a hand with in Walmart that all of a sudden they were my best friend."
Oh, absolutely.
Man, it's been 40 years since we crossed paths. We were in the Rustler section over there at Walmart, and you were buying them jeans, and I was getting me a Wrangler T-shirt. Man, you remember that? We were best buddies. They just start coming out of the woodworks,
Yes.
So we're gonna do that as a social experiment. Maybe Darren and I can think up something. We'll pretend that we've won $5 million, and then we'll see who comes to show up and say what's going on. And then
Just remember we're friends, Rob.
yeah, well, that's right, Karen. Remember that when I come into that credit union for that loan, that interest rate. No, I'm just
Right.
kidding. Which y'all do have the best interest rates around the area. I mean,
They are pretty good.
I can't say the best because I don't know, and that's not a factual. I got to be careful.
Well, we check around, and so we're pretty good.
But I will give y'all what we call in the radio biz a little puffery because y'all deserve it, though. Y'all do great work, and everything that I say about y'all is extremely genuine because all of my accounts are there, minus my SHN account, which I still need to get over. They're still dinging me for like $15 a month on that account. I'm like, man, I just need to get it switched over. And the only reason
They're
I have
paying that much just to have the account
yes,
there?
it's ridiculous.
Oh, then you absolutely need to move it.
Yeah, and it's nowhere local. They don't even have a branch here. It's just
then that's costing you money.
It is, and I've got
Definitely need to move that.
I've got two other business partners, and so we got to work all that around. So that's been the holdup. I've got to figure all that out. But anyways, what I'm getting at: go to Walker County Federal Credit Union. They will take great care of you. They will, and Karen will be right there. When you walk in to the right, she'll either be on the phone or doing something, and you just peek
Mostly
your
on the phone.
Yeah, you just peek your head around the corner. Hey, Karen. Hey, Rob.
And I'll wave.
And me as a talker, I know not to talk very long when I go in there because Karen's busy. She's never confronted me on this, but I know she's busy, and I will not go in there and yak my head off to her. So, you have any yackers that come in there and sit down? You ever be on the phone? And
Yeah, but it's sometimes nice to just chit-chat with people and hear what's going on, and because I just see them, sometimes going in and out, and they don't stop and talk.
Yeah.
So it's nice. Yeah.
I've always said Linda McKenzie over there at the Republican office, to me, that was always the living room of Huntsville. I used to just go sit in there and talk to her for about nothing. I'd just go walk by and say, hey, Linda, and just sit down. And she had little chairs in there. And every time I walk by, there's always somebody in there. And I told her that. I said, you're the living room of Huntsville. Do you realize that? She kind of chuckled.
She's a sweet lady.
She is. Well, hey, let's take a break, and we'll have a keyword up before too long. We do have Cafe Texan that we're going to be giving away again this week. Lee Cooper, I think, won last week, and also Rick Boning.
Oh, awesome.
So we've got 6 more of those bad boys to give away, so we'll spread them out a little bit. But 6 more Cafe Texans. We'll give away a couple this week. Big thank you to Tiffany Gobble, Vance Howard. They're doing great work over there at Cafe Texan. We'll take that brief break. As always, big thank you to Walker County Federal Credit Union. Once again, they're full-service community credit union. They've been here since Hines 1957. 57.
And we're A1.
A1, that's right. And you ain't going to get no horseradish when you go in there and talk to those
No, you're not.
folks.
We don't have any of that.
So we'll take a brief – I like how we tied all that in. We'll take a brief break. Stay with us. More to come. It's your show. This is Good Morning Huntsville. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back after this. The Oak Ridge Disciple House is a faith-based 501c3 nonprofit Christian character building ministry helping men 18 and older who are suffering from drug and alcohol addictions. If you or someone you know needs help, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and that light can be found through the Oak Ridge Disciple House. For more information, visit oakridgedisciplehouse.com.
Hey, I'm Denise Olivas, Business Account Specialist at Walker County Federal Credit Union, and our business is helping you take care of your business. In addition to personal accounts, Walker County Federal Credit Union also offers business accounts and business lending for commercial customers. We're devoted to taking care of the needs of our individual members and helping our business members with their financial success too. Call us today and find out how easy it is to work with Walker County Federal Credit Union. Member NCUA.
Hey friends, Rob Hipp, Media and Community Outreach Minister here at First Baptist Church, Huntsville. Let me ask you, when's the last time you felt real hope? Maybe it's been a while since you've been to church, or maybe you've never felt connected to a church at all. Well, friends, that's okay. Here at First Baptist, we're a harbor of hope, and we welcome everyone just as they are. We have programs throughout the week for all ages to come together, ask questions, grow in faith, and find the hope that only Jesus Christ can bring. Whether you're looking for a fresh start or a community to call home, we'd love for you to join us. Come experience something real. For more information, visit fbchuntsville.org. First Baptist Church Huntsville, a harbor of hope.
In this harbor of hope, we are safe inside.
Hi, I'm Billy Cawthon, manager of Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home. We know times of loss are tough, and you need a place to feel comfortable and cared for. At Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, we pride ourselves on being with you during those really tough days. You can rest assured that we will be on your side and by your side every step of the way. Thank you for your trust. Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, supporting families every day, every step.
At Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools, we're not just a place where children pass the time. We're not a daycare. We're a child care center focused on growth, learning, and discovery. Every day, children engage in meaningful activities that build confidence, independence, and a love for learning. From reading and math to social and practical life skills, our students are active participants in their development. Ready to give your child something more? Visit tomorrowspromise.info and discover what makes our school different. Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools. Education you can trust.
This is KHSP LP, Huntsville, Texas, the spirit of Huntsville.
This is Deneen with Guardian Defense, and you're listening to Spirit Radio.
Braylon, say, this is Spirit Radio.
This is Spirit Radio.
Spirit of Huntsville, Spirit of Huntsville, Spirit 94.3.
All right, friends, we continue to write another chapter here in Huntsville on Good Morning Huntsville. In fact, we're on chapter 573 this morning. The book continues to grow. How about 78 degrees, 90% Huntsville humidity? We'll get up to 97 today. It's going to be humid and hot, and guess what? 40% chance of rain. Heat index, ooh, here's the kicker, 105 for your heat index today. And then tonight, 77, your low, 30 degrees. We'll have rain, honestly, throughout the entire week. And I'm looking here at the next 6 days through the National Weather Service, and actually 7 days. We'll go through Sunday. Rain in the forecast, just as I got my irrigation lines fixed at home, where I thought I'd have to start using them. Guess what? I don't have to. So I'm very thankful for that this morning. Our good friend Darren Grant joining us here this morning. I don't even have the video on yet. You know, there's a lot of behind-the-scenes work that we do on this show.
It's very complicated.
It's a lot of, I call it octopus is what it is. It's an octopus over here. But we want to welcome him in now, Mr. Darren Grant. Good to see you, my friend.
Rob,
yeah,
good to be here.
Great to see you, too.
You know,
Sorry, I didn't break your thumb there, did I?
No, we're good. You know, my irrigation lines broke. I had one of the sprinkler heads pop off.
Oh, no.
And so the rain's coming at a perfect time, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to run the sprinklers, create this giant fountain as this pop sprinkler head shoots, water 50 feet high. So your loss is my gain.
Well, it was back in February. I went to turn on the water in the bathroom, and I said, boy, the water pressure is extremely low this morning. And then I said, I don't know what's going on, and I decided to go outside, and there was a geyser shooting out of the side of the house.
That's it.
And turns out where the main water line comes in, and it wasn't even freezing, by the way. It wasn't anything to do with the cold weather. Turns out where the main water line was, they branch it off to the house. It comes from the street to the house, and there was a little 90-degree, or a T there. There was a T there, and a little 90-degree that went to the irrigation line.
Yep.
Well, that little elbow in the 90-degree had decided it was going to go ahead and rupture, and that's why the water was shooting out. And it was cold. It wasn't freezing. It was a Sunday morning. I was supposed to be at church. Didn't make it to church that morning,
yes.
By the way. ran out, got the water shut off, and ran to cut off that T. By the way, here's a quick story. Had to cut 3 of the irrigation lines. See, this is the whole scenario. Somebody, Darren, decided, hey, let's build a fence right on top of this main water line. And not only that, let's put concrete, to hold the fence post, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So let's do that. So let's make sure that all the concrete goes over all those water lines. And so that was the first fun part. The second fun part was the irrigation company that came in. They decided, let's put all these irrigation lines right over the main water line and over that 90-degree elbow that one day is going to break. And so by the time I got into that and started digging around, I said, forget this. And I took my PVC cutters and I cut all the irrigation lines because that's the only way that I could have easily gotten to that elbow. Ran to Home Depot. SharkBite makes a really cool little adapter, little cap that pops onto the PVC. And so I jammed that thing on there, and that's been my temporary patch since February.
Oh, boy. There is a lot of water pressure in those lines.
Yes.
There is a lot.
So that held up perfectly fine. Fast forward, nothing on the city. They had to do their work. They had to. The fire hydrant decided it was going to stop working, and it's in my yard. So they had to tear out the whole side of the yard to redo the fire hydrant. Well, unfortunately, in the process, they damaged part of the irrigation lines on that side of the property. Here's the kicker. They could not test the irrigation lines because I hadn't fixed my end.
Yeah.
Well, I finally got around to fixing it, so now I've got to make the call today, and they've already laid all the sod, and I'm going to say, sorry, guys, you're going to have to come fix this now. So we'll see how it goes.
I can see your irrigation line and raise you a gas line.
Oh,
I
man.
had a friend who put in a new fence, and the contractor who did the fence was digging those holes for the posts, and the gas line ran right along the edge of the property, and they managed to go right through the gas line. And so next thing you know, there's 5 emergency vehicles in the yard and a little charge for rupture. Yeah, there was a few problems.
Man.
Yeah. I'm glad that friend wasn't me. So
well, sorry about I had a long intro here, and I apologize for that. Darren Grant is here this morning. Darren works over at Sam Houston State University. We've had the privilege of having you on several times. In fact, the first time I had you on, I said, Darren, would you come back? It was such a great interview. I said, would you mind coming back maybe once a quarter and just giving us some updates and some other things and different ideas? And you've been so good to us in this community and this program, and I'm so thankful to have you back here today. One thing, I know we're not going to talk in depth about this, but the concerts and all that have wrapped up. Last time you were here, we were talking about a lot of music going on. It was a fun summer, right?
It was a fun summer, and I listened to a lot of music. I probably went to 25 concerts this summer. I kid you not. And I actually listened to 4 bands on Saturday. There was a big party in Trinity. And unfortunately, I can't tell you anymore because what happens in Trinity County stays in Trinity County. So, but no, that was a great set of concerts. The Pickets are a local band, Huntsville based, and they were putting on a concert they're getting ready to release some new music. And so they were great, and then several other bands came to kind of join. So it was an all-day affair. It was really nice. I go up to Montreal in the summer, and we listen to music from every corner of the globe up there, much of it for free. There was a guitarist named Tommy Emmanuel, and the guy does an unreal live show. Where he makes his guitar sound like 7 different instruments.
Oh, that's cool. Is he like popping, doing all that kind of stuff and everything?
Percussion in the works. So then we worked our way up to Crockett for a concert up there. Of course, there was the Main Street Music Series here. So even after Sundown at Sam's ended in early May, for me the music has just kept going. But I get a little bit of a respite here. I've got a friend releasing an album and performing down in Conroe in a couple of weeks. And then maybe the schedule kind of quiets down for a little bit on the music side. Yeah.
Well, and this kind of ties in. I'll figure out a way to tie this into what we're going to talk about.
It's going to be a challenge, Rob, but you're up to it.
A lot of summers, it's a time for families to get together and be together. And a lot of these families were able to go to a lot of these concerts too. And there was parents, and they were bringing their kids. Well, now the parents, they may get a little respite, as you say, because all the kids are going back to school. HISD just started this past week, and Children are back in school. My children are always in right now because they're at Tomorrow's Promise. They don't take a summer break because they're young right now. But a really exciting time for seniors. This is the final year for many seniors, and I know a couple of seniors, some parents that have some senior kiddos here at in our schools, and that's kind of what we wanted to talk about today. So give us some insight and some things that you were going to mention today about our kids going back to school and seniors.
So school is definitely in session, and I see the traffic. Y'all were mentioning the traffic. I see the traffic in a very different way because I bike in. So I was coming down by Sam Houston Elementary, and that whole road, old Madisonville Road there, was just loaded with cars in both directions. And as a bicycle, it's actually hard to navigate through all the traffic. You know, it's a little bit of an inconvenience if you're a car because you're just sitting there waiting in line. As a bicycle, I'm trying not to run into something.
Pinball machine,
exactly. Really, it is. So you definitely notice that. And our kids are grown now, and so we've kind of seen this whole progression that you're just on the early end of. But when you become a senior, it's a very special time, and so if you kind of start at the end and you work backwards, you can think of all the special parts there are to being a senior, but also some of the worrisome parts as well. So, of course, you got graduation at the end of the year, and that's a big deal for a lot of people. But then if you back up a week or two, then you've got these end-of-year banquets and celebrations. A lot of these kids perform quite well academically, and so they got scholarships, and so they get celebrated in this way or that way, and that's a big deal for the kids. It's a big deal for the parents, kind of a special rite of passage. And then if you back up a little bit more, of course, there's prom. That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you think also, a lot of these kids are in sports. So what's a big deal about being a senior in sports?
It's your last year to play.
So you get to play, hopefully, quite a bit,
Yeah,
which is a big deal. And then you got senior night. And senior night is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you back up a little bit more, you start thinking, well, okay, now we're into the fall. And the fall is when you got to apply to college.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is when things can get a little bit scary for kids, because when you're a senior, you got to think about, okay, what am I going to do after I leave this place? And that's a big, you think about it, you're 17 years old, that's a big decision to put on a 17-year-old. I mean, it takes me a month to figure out what type of battery I want to put on my car, to replace what I have. And you're asking a 17-year-old to figure out where they're going to go to college, and maybe move to a new town, maybe take on a fair bit of debt, because you buy a house, that's a fair bit of debt. You buy a car, that can be a fair bit of debt. You go to college, that's also a fair bit. And that's a lot to put on a senior.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you kind of back up and you think about it now, this is that point in time where those kids are starting to think through, what am I going to do after graduation? And so that's both exciting but also a little bit scary.
A little scary, yeah.
It really is. And so, some families will get a head start on this because they will take their kids, or their kids will go and do visit colleges. And so they'll go over to, they'll go to Georgetown, right? And Southwestern's over there in Georgetown. They'll go visit the campus.
One of the kids I broadcast at New Waverly is at Southwestern now. It's a kind of cool connection.
Okay, yeah. No, I've had a couple of kids that we've known go over there as well. Right, or they'll go visit UT or what have you. Sam's campus, there's groups on tours. Of course, it happens in the spring and the fall as well, but the summer is a big time for tours. And so that's kind of a special rite of passage too for the parents and the children to go and see these colleges and kind of think about whether you can imagine yourself going there. A lot of our kids go to school in state, but a few of them go out of state, and that's really a trip. It doesn't happen all that often. New Waverly has actually been sending quite a few kids out of state to school. And, you think about what's involved in that. A lot of kids in our area haven't traveled all that widely, right? And so just the thought of going to school in, Missouri, that's a little bit intimidating. And so that's where you start to think about the school and the counselors in the school helping those children make that transition. So for the school counselors, it's also a special time and kind of an important time as they start guiding these kids.
I think it's great that if you don't mind if I interject here, Darren, about the counselors. I was so privileged to grow. It was a privilege to have these wonderful people in my life. I don't ever take that for granted.
Yeah.
And there's a counselor named Janet Davenport. And see, I remember my counselors. I remember Miss Coulter, and that was way back in elementary school. And I remember Janet Davenport, who was in junior high. And I'll tell you what, those ladies made such an impact on me. In fact, Miss Davenport, I still talk to her a great once in a while.
Do you really?
I do. And I remember sitting down with her, and I knew what I wanted to do in life. I already had it kind of mapped out, right? I mean, I didn't know 100%, but I kind of had an idea. And she gave me some encouragement and kind of guided me on the right path. And when I got into business, she introduced me to people in the business community. I would later get to know her husband, who was the district governor for the Rotary clubs in that area.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, those counselors have so much that they have to do. They are taking in a lot of and you think about all the things that kids have to go through, and they're the listening ear for an entire school. A lot of them.
There's a lot of things
they have to do.
There's a lot of things they have to do, and a lot of people don't necessarily pay attention to that. So, did you graduate from high school in Georgetown?
Yes, sir. Yep.
So your high school is pretty big.
Yeah.
How many people in your graduating class?
Oh man, 700. Now they're building, and then it was only one high school. They built a second one about 10 years ago, and now they're building a third high school there.
Yes, it's growing like crazy over there. So my high school, same way. My graduating class, I think, was 550 kids. So those are big classes. And so there's a lot of counselors, and they can kind of specialize. All right, well, we got one big high school in Walker County, and that's Huntsville High School. And they too have multiple counselors that can kind of specialize in different areas. But what about the small school districts? So, Rob, how many school districts do we have in Walker County? How many school districts are part or wholly in Walker County?
I mean, one that pops into, and I promise I wasn't pre-reading your notes, but it's because our pastor, his kids are connected out there, is at Richards.
Richards ISD?
That's one to think about, but I'm assuming, we have New Waverly, so there's got to be a Waverly somewhere.
There's New Waverly. No, there is not a Waverly school district.
Not a Waverly school district.
Do you know how New Waverly came into being?
Well, somebody was in Waverly, and they said, well, let's go up the road and make things new. And so they started, no, I'm just kidding.
Not quite. Karen, do you know how New Waverly? So there is a place called Waverly, which was the old town of Waverly. And back in the late 1800s, Waverly is like, we are not going to let the railroad go through here.
Wow.
Because the railroad will bring miscreants. And we don't want miscreants coming into the town of Waverly. So the railroad moved over. And the second the railroad was built, 10 miles away, the town of Waverly all of a sudden it's like an interstate, right? You lose all that business. And so Waverly shriveled and New Waverly popped up right near the railroad, which of course goes right through the exact center of New Waverly. So Waverly, you can actually find it, but it's not even a town. It's a couple of buildings, and there's a cemetery back there, but you wouldn't even notice it. You just go right on through. But there is New Waverly School District. There's Richards. That's right. Your pastor was president of the school board out there for a while and on the school board for quite some time. Huntsville ISD, there is one more ISD that is part of it is in Walker County.
Can you give me any hint?
Starts with a T.
Oh, Trinity?
Trinity.
They spill over into Walker County?
A little bit.
I didn't know that. Wow.
So the very northern part of Walker County is called Deep River Plantation, and it's on the other side of the Trinity River. And people don't hear about it a lot. Last time it was kind of really in the news was maybe like 12, 13 years ago when there was a bunch of flooding out there. So that is some low-lying land. Anyway, that is in the Trinity School District. So all of these are smaller school districts. So if you think about probably Trinity and definitely New Waverly, their graduating class is going to be more like 100 people.
And Richards is not much at all, I would assume.
So Richards, the entire school district is less than 150 kids.
You know one we're leaving out? Alpha Omega.
Well, that's not.
I know it's it's private, but yeah,
it's private, right? So, right, there's definitely private schools as well. But if you're thinking on the public dimension, and it is true. I mean, the private school's going to have their counselors as well.
Yeah.
Alpha's going to graduate about 20 kids a year, so that's also pretty small, right? And Premier would graduate smaller numbers.
Yeah, I forgot
as
about
well.
that. Now it opens up the whole cornucopia when we start thinking about that.
And they just keep multiplying. But Richards has 140, 150 kids in the entire school district, which means graduation is like, 10, 11, 12 kids, which would think it'd be a short graduation. You'd have to do something to stretch it out.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I used to live stream. We still do it for Hutto ISD, and they had almost 800 graduate. And I made the critical mistake of saying, hey, let's make our live stream unique. Do you want me to put the kids' names up as they walk across? Rob, that would be great. And so I wrote a script in Excel for our broadcast software, and guess what I have to do? I have to click 700, 800 names it's all right. But what I was getting at is you're right. You would think that the smaller schools, they would be really quick. We live streamed a private school's graduation, and boy, I miscalculated that because I thought, it's probably an hour. That ended up being over 3 hours. And I said, and it was 12 kids.
I went to an Alpha graduation one time, and that took, comfortably an hour. I think each child got to say something, which is kind of sweet, right?
Yeah,
so there's 20 kids graduating, and each one gets the mic for 2 or 3 minutes. And so it's kind of sweet. It really, but it is very, very different. And then you put yourself in the position of a school district like New Waverly or Richards. How are you going to get your kids able to kind of have their best launch into the world after graduation?
Yeah.
Because that's a different problem that's got to be solved than the problem in your school and mine, where there's 700 kids and you can have somebody specialize in, college applications and somebody else specialize in this and that, and you can have, special courses and this and that and the other. But you're in Richards or New Waverly, you can't do that. And so how do these school districts get their most academically oriented, strongest kids? How do they get them in a position to launch to college, especially to some of these good colleges that some of these kids are capable of going to? But it's not easy to get into a really strong college. It's hard if you're from the Woodlands to get into, Ivy League schools or what have you. Imagine being from New Waverly or somewhere like that. How would you get prepared to launch into a place like that? Well, that is the problem that small school districts have to solve. And so you see it on the counselor end, and then you also see it on the academic end. So the best way I can illustrate this is to describe my trip I took in May. I went up to Tyler, Texas. I'd never been to Tyler. I thought let's just go to Tyler and see what it's like and camp out and hang out a little bit. And so on the way back, I'm driving south from Tyler. So you go Tyler, and then that place where they had all the cops that would give you all the tickets. Do you remember that place? No, there was a place where they had 50 cops in a town of 1,000 people. And anyway, so you go through that, and then you go through Palestine. And so you're driving through Palestine, and the Palestine ISD has, here's our top 10 graduates for the class of 2025. Got the big picture.
I've seen that. Some of the towns put the billboard out and stuff.
Right. You got that, and it's really great, And so you go there, and then you go south from Palestine, and you go to the Elkhart School District. And then they just say, here's our 10 graduates.
Yeah, I've seen that too. Yeah.
Because there's not a top 10 because there are just 10 graduates. That's the whole thing. All right, so then you go south from Elkhart and you end up in Latexo.
Okay, I've heard of Latexo.
Latexo. So it's that little place that you sneeze and you miss it on the way to Grapeland.
Not Latexo. Someone joked and said, that's where they make latex. I said, no.
No, I think it's Louisiana, Texas, and Oklahoma, and they just mashed them together. But if you go through there and you look along the side of the highway, what do you see? This is a very tough question.
If you're going
right through Latexo. So Latexo is basically like a gas station and, a couple little buildings and the school district.
So what do you see as you drive by there?
Yeah, so a lot of schools will be like, we were the champion in football, 8 years ago. We're the soccer champion, whatever. Latexo, what do they got?
I have no. Can you give me a hint?
It's very hard. It's UIL.
Oh, okay. Spelling.
Academic UIL. So
Liberty Hill, Texas, theirs says UIL spelling champions.
Okay. So you've seen the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. This is a solution to a
That's
problem.
cool.
If you're in a really small school district, and this is going to apply to any small school district, this applies to, you don't have to be as small as Latexo, then you can't have like a class designed for those kids who really want to launch to a great school. But you do have academic UIL, and they got all kinds of things, right? Spelling, chess, calculator, literary criticism, history, science, the works. So you can get in there and pick a couple of these subjects and really drill down and really get to know that subject well. And so that's a way for those kids to really, develop themselves academically. And so if you go through Latexo, sure enough, they got a billboard up there, and their first place in the state. It's not just one subject. There's just a whole list of things.
And that's a huge accomplishment, because so many times we get wrapped up, and not knocking the athletic side, but so many times you get wrapped up in just athletics and you forget about UIL is so much more than just the sports.
It is. And so, of course, there are kids who are very athletically oriented, and you want them to have that outlet in sports. But then there are other kids who they're more interested in academics. And, of course, you got kids that like to do both. And so New Waverly, my wife teaches in New Waverly, so I'm pretty familiar. And that UIL program up there, New Waverly, there's two things, really, two extracurriculars that they go nuts about in New Waverly. Number one, this is a test. You should know. It is
that they go
nuts about extracurriculars.
Can it be? I know they're big on their football, but are you trying to stay away from sports?
Yeah, outside of sports. FFA.
Okay, I should know this.
Oh yeah, you should.
It's my third year calling their football, and I don't even know this. Come on,
you
man.
go out to the Walker County Fair, and boy howdy, there's there's a lot of animals out there. And if you go inside that building where they have like they'll have flower arrangements, but they'll also have built stuff out of like welded stuff together, and they build for the shop.
Kind of like their CTE welding shop and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I had a friend, actually, his son built a smoker. He took the engine out of an old John Deere tractor and put a smoker in, and made it so the John Deere tractor was a smoker.
Oh, that's cool.
It was, and it was unbelievable. Just unbelievable. And so New Waverly is very well represented in there because they have a very well represented, developed shop program. So anyway, FFA is really big down there, but then also UIL. And so they have tons of teachers and tons of kids get all, put together for UIL. They will practice all year long, after school, sometimes before school. The amount of work, and I've seen this, the amount of work that the teachers put in to make this happen is unbelievable. And then the kids will show a lot of commitment, coming early, coming late, what have you. And then they will send, so they have a district UIL, and then I think probably region, and then state, and so like the whole month of May, they're traveling all over the darn place doing all these competitions. But it has really worked for them in New Waverly. And in the last, I think, 2 or 3 years, New Waverly and their graduating class, if it gets to 100, that's a big year. In the last 2 or 3 years, they've sent one young person to West Point, to the U.S. Military Academy in West Point, and there's not a whole lot of kids, get in there. They sent another kid to the University of Pennsylvania. And so that's an Ivy League school.
Yeah.
My guess is the admit rate into that place is 7%.
Wow.
So out of every 14 kids that apply, one of them gets in. And then I think just this past year they sent a kid to MIT.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just unbelievable that you can, launch that many kids to schools like that. And that is testament to the kind of work that the schools put in, getting them prepped to have, to put their best selves forward as they start applying to colleges. And so you're seeing kind of the culmination of that now, because it's August and you haven't really started applying yet. But this is that time where all that preparation is going to start to pay off. And so that's a very special time for the kids. It's a little bit nervous, a little bit nerve-wracking, but also very special. On the other hand, you have kids that aren't going to go to college. And, in places like, Huntsville, New Waverly, Richards, they're not all going to college.
Mm-hmm.
And so in a place, especially in a smaller district, those counselors can get to know those kids pretty well. Huntsville's going to have 4 or 5 school counselors in the school. New Waverly's got 1. And then Richards, they got a school counselor for the whole district.
Yeah. Wow.
So if you stay long enough, you see those kids come in as kindergartners, and then you see them all the way through, and 12, 13 years later.
You probably see them in the nursery at the church, at these small towns. You never know.
It's really small. And so, you're able to track these. So when you sit down to work with them, you know them pretty well, right? And you know what they're capable of. We had a friend that was a counselor out there at Richards for several years, and she'd get to know those kids pretty well. And then it didn't matter if they were going to college or something else, but every one of them, by the time, all 10 of them, by the time they graduated, they had a direction. They were heading somewhere. And maybe it was college, maybe it was out-of-state college, or maybe it was a trade school or what have you. But each one of them had a direction because those counselors are working with them to help them kind of figure it out. Because being a senior is both a really exciting time and a really scary time as you have to figure out what's next.
Well, Darren, I appreciate you coming on and just, talking about this. It's things that we overlook, right? And I think we give so much recognition, which it's due to teachers and to coaches and to professors and to everyone. But sometimes I think we forget about the hard work that the counselors are doing at these schools, getting these young people prepared for the next journey, for the biggest journey ahead in their life, which is college and then the adult life. And I'm so glad that you brought that to our attention because, again, I think about Janet Davenport and the impact that she made to me, and Sylvia Coulter. How can I remember their names?
Isn't that something?
Sylvia Coulter was in elementary, and I remember Miss Coulter, second grade, man. I remember them very distinctly, and they were such a positive influence on my life. And so to all the counselors out there, whether it's at New Waverly or Huntsville or even at the private schools, wherever you may be, Darren brings up a great point. We just want to extend a special thank you to all the hard work that y'all do. It's very important that we discuss this, so thank you.
My pleasure. If we were wearing hats, Rob, we would say hats off to you.
Your hat, yeah, yours and his is. It did.
Mine is off to the side, so hats off to you. When we first started doing this, we talked about nooks and crannies.
Yeah,
and
I
this
love
is
it.
one of those little crannies that people don't necessarily think about unless you're in that situation and you're trying to solve that problem. And it's really a creative solution to a genuine challenge, and the school districts do a nice job meeting that challenge.
Now I'm going to ask you a trivia question,
Okay.
but I've got to double check before I spit this out. So I'm doing a very quick
on the Google.
Yes.
Remember, the Google likes to be addressed formally.
Oh man, see, this is wrong. This is absolutely wrong. So I can ask you this, and it did pop up.
Okay.
What is the oldest university in the state of Texas? The oldest one.
Well, the oldest building would be right down the street. So Austin Hall at Sam Houston State University is actually the oldest, continually used university building in the United States west of the Mississippi.
Okay.
But I think Southwestern is. Boy, so Sam is 1879, so that's going to be preceded. I think is Southwestern the oldest?
Southwestern University.
Yeah, I was thinking it was
1840. They were actually chartered before Georgetown became a town. Georgetown was 1848. Now, here's another little piece of trivia.
Okay.
What was the original name of Southwestern University? This one's cool. Not many people know this, and I didn't know it, and I grew up there.
That's a tough one. So is Southwestern Baptist oriented, or was it Baptist founded?
No.
Okay. Was it associated with a seminary at all?
I don't know that. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just going to tell you I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was originally called Texas University.
Oh, my gosh.
And then somebody down in Austin decided, let's start a university called the University of Texas. So there was a lot of confusion there. And so Southwestern decided we're going to change. And I don't know the reason for them changing to pick Southwestern.
Yeah.
But they used to be in the same conference and play football with Baylor, with University of Texas, and all that. And here's why I say this. It's neat to think about that, right? They played with Baylor. This was way back in the day. This is when they were wearing, not even leather. They were probably wearing their grandpa's socks as helmets, back then. So
go ahead.
So the neat story about all of this is, and I think about this, and I think about a lot about Sam Houston and how the university here has grown.
Yeah.
If you think about Southwestern, it's a small Division III college now. There hasn't been a whole lot of growth over the years. They've kind of remained where they're at with enrollment and all that.
Yeah,
it's a great institution, by the way. But why didn't Southwestern grow like the University of Texas and Baylor and A&M? There was somebody, and this is why it's so important, because you never know what one person or one idea can do. And I guarantee all of those other schools, Baylor, A&M, University of Texas, there was somebody that said, let's do this instead. And look at how those universities have grown. And I think it's just a testament of our imaginations, and that one idea or one thought can lead to something like that. Not saying that Southwestern isn't great. It's a great school. But for whatever reason, they decided to remain small like they were. But that could have easily been the largest university in the entire state, thinking that they were the oldest university. But somebody said, no, let's slow our roll a little bit, and that's okay because every place has its purpose.
Well, and that takes us back to our discussion of the school districts. I mean, you have large school districts. I mean, down in the Woodlands, those graduating classes are 1,000 kids, right? And so you can have, specialized classes in I don't know, biochemistry and this and that and the other, and you can have special, like the sports are all well developed and lots of coaches and stuff. But then at the same time, you can lose something in a large school district too, and those kids can sometimes have challenges with that. And so it's just like in Walker County. We have larger school districts, like Huntsville ISD. We have smaller school districts like New Waverly and Richards. And, the kids can find a home in each. And in a place like Richards, those kids would be, let's be honest, those kids would be lost if they were folded into the Montgomery School District, which is a big by now. Because Montgomery has just grown. Oh, yeah. And so now they had one high school. Now they have two high schools. They're both large high schools. If you folded those Richards kids in, and I bet you your pastor would say 100%, you folded those kids into the Montgomery School District, and they would get lost.
Yeah,
but in Richards, you're not getting lost in Richards. You're 1% of the entire district.
Yeah.
well, Jimmy, there's 1% of our district right there. Jimmy's going home.
Yeah, that's it. Well, it's such a great discussion. I appreciate you, Darren. Thank you for this. Our Nooks and Crannies segment. We get to do this once a quarter or so.
I need a graphic. If I do this a couple more times, I need my own graphic.
He'll need a graphic. And then what's going to happen is I'll have to take out that third. I already took out my second mortgage for Karen, and now I'm going to have to take out my third mortgage for you. So,
well, Karen will help you with that.
Yeah.
That's the upside.
Well, Darren, thank you so much, man. It's always a privilege to have you on. And, again, we appreciate all the counselors out there. Thank you for the tremendous work that you're doing, whether it's a small school or whether it's a large district. The impact that you're making definitely does not go unnoticed.
And appreciate it.
All right. What's the next segment? You've been thinking yet? What do we got? Any teasers?
I have a couple ideas, but I haven't settled on anything. I actually do a little bit of thinking ahead of time, and even a little bit of research, not a lot. But I want to make sure I don't have my facts just wrong.
Like me saying, "Hey, what's the oldest university in the state of Texas?" And I have to go do a quick Google search to make sure. It's one of those things. People tell you stuff, and you're like, "Oh," and then do you ever? Then sometimes I'm like, I should probably read into that before I talk about it.
I do a little bit. Like, is it really like this?
Yeah. Well, hey, we're going to continue on. Karen rejoins us again. Special thank you to Darren Grant. We appreciate him being here. As always, we couldn't have folks like Darren on this show to talk about the importance of what folks are doing and the nooks and crannies, like our counselors and the hard work that they do, without the generous support of Walker County Federal Credit Union here on this magnificent Monday. We'll step aside. We'll take a break. As we continue on, stay with us. More to come. This is your show. It is Good Morning Huntsville. We'll be right back, friends, after this.
Hey, I'm Denise Olivas, Business Account Specialist at Walker County Federal Credit Union. One of the best things I hear from our members is how they love being treated like they're important, like their family. Sure, our members love things like low rates on loans too, but combine that with the friendliest and most helpful service in town, and you've got Walker County Federal, taking care of our members. It's what we do. We are Walker County Federal Credit Union, member NCUA.
Hi, I'm Billy Cawthon, manager of Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home. We know times of loss are tough, and you need a place to feel comfortable and cared for. At Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, we pride ourselves on being with you during those really tough days. You can rest assured that we will be on your side and by your side every step of the way. Thank you for your trust. Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, supporting families every day, every step.
The church should be transformational. And maybe you've never been to church, or maybe life has left you feeling lost, but Jesus says, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." At First Baptist Church, Huntsville, a harbor of hope, we're not trying to fit in with the world. We're here to help you step into something greater, a fresh start, a new life in Christ. Join us this Sunday at 10:45 and see what God can do in your life. Visit fbchuntsville.org. Hope is here, and we're saving a seat just for you.
Loving Jesus, loving people side by side. In this harbor of hope, we are safe inside.
Since 2010, the Oak Ridge Disciple House has helped men break free from addiction, not with quick fixes, but lasting change through Jesus Christ. They've celebrated 167 graduates at Oak Ridge and 138 more at Interfaith with an 80% success rate. That's compared to just 5% in most secular programs. The fact is, Jesus works. And now, celebrating 15 years, they're building their third house in Tennessee and just launched a women's program, Restoration Ranch in Texas. It's all for God's glory. And here's the heart of it. They never turn anyone away for lack of money. In fact, 95% of families receive scholarships. As one person put it, don't talk about it, be about it. Every penny counts. Donate today at oakridgedisciplehouse.com and help change a life forever. The Oak Ridge Disciple House. Online at oakridgedisciplehouse.com. Real recovery, real hope. This is Guardian Defense in Huntsville, Texas, a trusted, family-owned and operated gun store and range in the heart of East Texas. Guardian Defense is your one-stop destination for Texas LTC, NRA basic pistol and rifle courses, pistol refresher training, as well as a wide selection of quality firearms and ammunition. At Guardian Defense, empowerment is within reach through their Texas DPS-approved license to carry classes. Certified instructors will guide you through every facet of firearm safety, conflict resolution, and the pertinent legal aspects. Book now to become proficient and responsible in handling a firearm with complete confidence. For the eager learners, the fundamentals of pistol and rifle usage await discovery in their comprehensive 8-hour NRA basic courses. You're invited to connect with Guardian Defense on Facebook and Instagram, or give them a call at 936-293-0364. You can also visit them online at guardiandefensellc.com. Guardian Defense, your reliable partner in mastering firearm safety and acquiring quality firearms in the heart of Texas. Hey friends, Rob Hipp, Media and Community Outreach Minister here at First Baptist Church, Huntsville. Let me ask you, when's the last time you felt real hope? Maybe it's been a while since you've been to church, or maybe you've never felt connected to a church at all. Well friends, that's okay. Here at First Baptist, we're a harbor of hope and we welcome everyone just as they are. We have programs throughout the week for all ages to come together, ask questions, grow in faith, and find the hope that only Jesus Christ can bring. Whether you're looking for a fresh start or a community to call home, we'd love for you to join us. Come experience something real. For more information, visit fbchuntsville.org. First Baptist Church, Huntsville, a harbor of hope.
In this harbor of hope, we are safe inside.
Back at it. Karen Denman back with us. Welcome back, Karen.
Hello. I don't know.
Hello, Huntsville.
Are we gone?
We're back. Here we are.
There we are.
Well,
okay.
I like that purple. I really do.
I do too.
It's that purple and that black you're wearing. Just It just pops. It's good.
I just love the purple.
I've been a huge fan of black lately. I really like wearing black, and
makes you look slimmer.
Yeah, somebody came. It's funny you mentioned that because somebody came up to me a while back, and I was wearing a black polo and a black sports coat. Rob, you look like you've lost some weight.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
the black will do it every time.
I've actually gained like 6 pounds since when they saw me, and I was like, oh, well, thank you so much for noticing. But today, I don't know. I like these Magellan shirts. I really do like these. Now I see why. I used to always kind of poke fun at them because they had that. Does this one have that vent on the back?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I used to make fun of that all the time, and now I'm the guy wearing them.
Yep.
The only problem is, and I take a shower, and try to make sure that I smell good. But these shirts, it doesn't matter who you are. By the end of the day, these shirts stink.
Do they?
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like I don't know what it is. It's the air outside. So does Russell have any of these?
Yeah, we have those, and we wear those for our Go Texan committee. We have Magellan shirts.
Next time you see Russell and he's been outside, just kind of lean over and kind of smell of his sleeve and be like, and then you'll notice, and then you come back and report to me. Okay?
I've never noticed that, and I have one.
Yes. Well, Braylon the other night, I was wearing one. I wore one, and I didn't even get sweaty. I was inside, and then I went out just to do a few things for maybe 30 minutes. I didn't get sweaty in it. I came in. I left it on because we're in this mode right now. And I've had people tell, well, you need to quit doing it. Well, you know what? Every child is different. I've learned that every child is different.
Oh, absolutely.
So you can have, there definitely needs to be a foundation for children, obviously, and there needs to be a pathway, I guess you could say. But children are going to deviate on that path. And, I've had people tell, well, you need to stop doing that and do this. And so my biggest problem right now, and it's actually not a problem because it's cool daddy-daughter bonding time. I enjoy it. I look forward to putting my daughter to sleep every night because I lay down with her, we talk, we read, we pray. It's a very special time for me and my daughter. And it's really the only time that I get to really interact with her because of my work schedule and Bridget's work schedule. But anyways, I'm laying down with her the other night, and she goes, Daddy, you stink.
Thanks, Braylon.
Thanks, Braylon. And it was that doggone shirt.
Huh.
And it's not like a sweat smell. It's just like an outdoor. When you let the dogs out and they come back in and
they smell like sweaty dogs.
Yeah, what's up with that? What and like little kids when they go out and they come back in, what is up with that?
Oh yeah, little kids do.
Why? What is it about outside?
I don't know.
I
don't know.
I had a dream. I never remember my dreams, but very rarely. And last night I remember my dream. My dream was I was outside and I was breathing the air in, and the air felt so heavy. And I was thinking about all the cars and all the exhaust that comes out of the cars and everything. And I said, would the air feel better if we didn't have all these gasoline? And I'm not against gas, obviously. I'm just saying. But how did the air feel 200 years ago compared to how it feels now? And I think maybe I was thinking about it because I don't sleep well at night. I wake up in the morning and I feel more tired than I went to sleep, and it takes a couple of hours for me to finally get moving.
I get it.
I
get it.
And I remember as a child I would wake up and I would be refreshed. I have not felt refreshed in over 20 years waking up since I was 20 years old. Do you remember that when you're little?
Yeah.
And someone says, well, it's just part of getting old. And I was like, no, but there's something going on that I think it's something that they need to spend a lot more time looking into, because as adults,
because we have so much on our mind, and you go to sleep with all that on your mind, and worries and stress and anxiety, or that's my problem anyway.
Yeah, but isn't it weird though? And when you wake up, do you feel refreshed?
No.
Ever, never once. Yeah.
Not usually.
That's how
sometimes
I am.
on the weekends.
Yeah, see, like even me on the weekends, I don't. I feel so tired when I wake up. And it's been like that since I was 20 years old. It's the weirdest thing, Karen. I went to a sleep center, and they told me I had narcolepsy years ago. That's why I was tired. They hook up all them wires. Now, narcolepsy is not that. That's cataplectic narcolepsy. Cataplectic narcolepsy is where people just fall asleep when you're talking to them. And I have seen people like that. It's scary. I've been talking to a guy, and he says, hey, Rob.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's
really?
Cataplectic narcolepsy. When you think of
Either
narcolepsy,
that or you were really boring.
Yeah, that's probably what it was like. I'm tired of this guy yakking. No, but I went and they tried to put me on this sleep drug called GHP or something, and but the problem was I had to get up in the middle of the night and take it. And I said, that sounds...
You take it in the middle of the night?
Yes, don't that sound counterproductive?
It does.
And I didn't want to be in there. Well, you're probably going to have to be on this the rest of your life. I was like, no. Anytime somebody says you're going to have to be on this the rest of your life, I'm looking for other alternatives. I'm not a doctor, but I'm looking for other... Now, if you get an organ transplant, obviously you're going to be on medication because it's...
You better take that every day.
Yeah, you better. Otherwise, your body's going to spit that liver out or something. It's gonna be like, I don't want this thing. So... But anyways, hey, I wanted to mention a couple things. Every Friday, Walker County Federal Credit Union does this. If you don't follow their Facebook page, you need to. They have something really cool called the Financial Fitness Friday. And I want to go back and look at last Friday's because this is a really important one, Karen. You guys had talked about a credit check-in. How is your credit score? And your credit score, many people think, well, it's just a number, but it's so much more than that. It is a extremely
important number.
Yeah, very important number.
It'll determine the rate that you get on your loan, the rate that you get on your insurance, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and guess what? If you don't have good score, you ain't going to borrow. For some of us, that may be fine because we may not need to borrow. But did you know now that credit scores are even affecting job opportunities? I never thought about that. That employers are running credit checks. And some employers will look and say, well, that guy doesn't have a good credit score. It means he's not responsible with his finances. Is he going to be responsible working for me? And they're allowed to do that as long as they disclose that when they're hiring
as long as you agree to it.
Yep. And so they're doing that now. So here's a couple of things to stay on top of your credit score. Now, I use Credit Karma, by the way. It's a good one. But the one that you guys recommend and the one that is really good, and I do this too, it's annualcreditreport.com.
And it is free.
It is
one time per year.
And I think that's like the government mandated that one, right? Or something?
I don't know, but it is free. Now, if you want your score, that's an extra cost through that. But just to get your credit report, just to see what's on there and make sure everything's accurate, annualcreditreport.com.
Yeah,
once per year.
There was a law that was passed, and their little tagline says, the only source for your free credit reports authorized by federal law. And what's important, Credit Karma doesn't really keep up to date as you think it would. It seems like it does, but the annual credit, that is the legit. Here's your bad boy, what you need to see. So that is one thing. You guys also say look for errors. You need to. Incorrect info can drag your score down. So if there's anything that looks sketch, I'm trying to use like cool young people words.
If you see something, a trade line on there that's not yours, or you don't have this account, contact the creditor first, and get all that verified.
Bridget kept getting calls, like legitimate calls, about Mi Tierra in San Antonio. Someone had found her Social Security number and was using it to work there.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and that's a scary thing.
Yeah.
And shame on the employer, too, for not doing their research because if you punch in somebody's credit, if you punch in their Social Security number on a background check, it's going to show who that person is.
Right.
So
or it'll show that the name that was issued to that person is not the
Yeah.
person that's sitting here in front of you.
100%. If that employer would just do their, when we do background check, well, if you did the background check, that person.
You'd know that this person here is not Bridget.
Keep your credit usage low. That's a big one that I struggle with. I try to, but it says aim to use less than 30% of your available credit. So for easy math, let's say you had a $100 credit card. Now, that's not a lot. Keep that under $30.
You're not going to buy much with that.
No, you may get a hamburger.
Yeah.
You might get something to eat, but keep it at $30. So you get what I'm doing on the math there. And then the thing too, pay on time every single time. Even one late payment can hurt your score, and it does. I've had it happen to me. And the other thing too is it's not just hurting your score when you don't pay on time, but you may have an interest-free deal with your credit card, and if you look at those tons of pages of rules, it'll say if you miss one payment, now you owe all that interest.
Your rate goes sky high, and you get late fees. Yep.
So be careful with that. And then finally, avoid unnecessary hard inquiries. Too many applications for new credit equals a red flag. So if you're just hammering stuff, trying to set up accounts, those go against your report. Now, those will drop off a lot sooner than, something else, but still, it doesn't look good.
That's why when you're car shopping, it's important to just get pre-approved with your credit union, because if you go to the dealership, they're going to put you out there, and it's called Dealer Track or Route 1. And so and no offense to any of my dealers, but this is just what they do. Everybody is competing for your loan, so all of these lenders are running your credit, even though you've just authorized a one time
hit it like
for
10
the dealership.
times.
And so they run it a bunch of times. And at the credit union, we'll do it one time, give you a pre-approval. You can go to the dealership and say, I'm already approved. This is the car I want to buy, and we got it from there.
What'd you call it? Route 1, or what was it?
It's Dealer Track, Route 1, but they basically they're selling you out to the highest bidder. Whoever's going to pay them the most fees to get your loan, that's who they're gonna put you through. But several lenders will run your credit because they're all competing for your business.
In my opinion, it's called Route 1 because it's the route one way to jack up your credit.
Exactly.
That's what it does.
And so you'll see 10 inquiries when you've just been to one dealership, but that's what happens.
And don't worry if you're not. I'm not a big confrontation person, but too bad when it comes to high ticket items like a vehicle. Too bad if you offend the finance guy in there. I used to work at a car dealership.
Yeah.
And we were taught in the background, and I'm not saying it here, I'm saying where I used to work. And this wasn't in Huntsville, and we got great dealers here in this community. Love the folks here.
Yes, I do too.
But I worked at one in Georgetown, and I will never forget in one of our meetings. Now, people are going to come in with these pre-approvals, and you need to really talk them out of it because now our credit guy's not making his money. Well, who cares? Sorry. And that's what I told him. I got in trouble in the meeting. I said, well, too bad. If he ain't making his money, then go get another job.
Yeah.
Because I'm a consumer.
You still want to sell the car, so if they're already pre-approved, then take their pre-approval and move on.
So, and I'm not hating on them, but I'm just saying too bad. That's just, as a consumer, I want the best deal possible and the best rate. And you know what?
And that's what we want for you at the credit union, and we're not going to try to sell you a bunch of stuff you don't need.
And when Karen said go to your credit union,
I meant Walker County.
Yeah, you better get to Walker County Federal Credit Union. And let them be your credit union.
Yes, we'll give you a pre-approval, and you're good to go.
I won't say the rate because I know rates have went up. But when y'all sold Bridget or provided her the loan for that Hyundai Santa Fe that we'll have paid off next July.
The rates were much lower when she bought that car.
That rate is unbelievable.
Yes, she's got a good one.
And I've got a 4% on my truck up in Fargo. See, I couldn't do it then because we had moved, and I would go through you guys. But maybe I wonder if I can just refinance it through you guys.
Yeah.
But
if you've got 4%, you probably don't want to refinance right now.
See, that's the honest. See, I brought this up. That's the honesty of WCFCU also. And be careful. And that's another thing to think about. So you're exactly right on this, and I wanted to bring this up real quick. That I know sometimes we look for a quick fix. Now, for me, for the credit card debt, it was a no-brainer. I went through you guys easily to consolidate. It was a no-brainer. But I think sometimes we rush to refinancing because we want that lower payment, but we don't realize in the long run we're actually paying a lot more. And so if you can just stick it out and pay that loan off, sometimes that may be a better option. But the best option is go sit down, talk to somebody at the credit union, at Walker County Federal Credit Union. And just like Karen was honest with me, they're going to be honest with you. Hey, we'd love this, but right now you got a great rate. Why don't you just hold on to that and hit us up next time for the next one? That's the way y'all operate, and I love that honesty and transparency. So go by and see him, Walker County Federal Credit Union.
Come see us.
Why do they call it Heinz 57? Is there 57 flavors and like 57 varieties?
I don't know. That's maybe a good trivia question. Speaking of trivia,
what's
trivia
going on?
tonight,
What's
6
going on
o'clock,
tonight?
rodeo. Come see us. Fun, food, drinks, and you can win some prizes.
You can. Now, you may not be able to win $5,000.
No, we don't. You won't win that.
You may win a fraction.
You'll win $25.
Which will still go a long way.
Right.
So, is that a gift card, by the way? Is that to rodeo?
It is, yes.
So that's cool, yeah. So go by and support Delphina at Rodeo and also support Karen and the great work that they're doing with the trivia. So anything else? We're not gonna go ahead and text in, by the way, just text in your name. We're not gonna do it live on the show. I don't have the keyword up today, but text in your name for your chance to win Cafe Texan, because you'll be entered in all week. When we pop the keyword up, we'll automatically include it. But go ahead and enter in now your name to 936-339-0139. Just send in your name, text in your name to 936-339-0139. We'll get you entered in this week for Cafe Texan. Karen, been a fun morning. Anything else going on?
No. Just work, business as usual. Come see us tonight for trivia.
Hey, and what did you do this weekend?
Steak dinner.
Steak dinner
Friday.
Did you get any pool in?
Yes, all day Saturday and Sunday.
When do the pools typically close, by the way? I mean, if you got your own pool at a house, it's like
It's open, yeah, year round. But I don't know. Probably after, I don't know. Labor Day, it's still hot. So
when is Labor Day? What month? I always forget.
September, the first
so there's still
weekend in September. Spills last weekend in August, first weekend of September.
I brought that up, Karen, because I drove by the pool Saturday, and not one soul was in that pool.
Really?
Can you believe that?
And it was hot.
Yes, at Elkins.
It was really hot yesterday.
There wasn't one single person in that pool on Saturday when I drove by in the afternoon. I thought that was unbelievable.
That is unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. I didn't go get in it.
See whenever, trying to pull up my calendar to see when Labor Day is. Anyway, it's coming up.
So if you haven't gotten a pool, get in a pool.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Right. Well, hey, Huntsville, we love you. We appreciate you. Again, please support our foundation sponsors. Walker County Federal's been with us, literally since we started this show. And not only are they continuing to support this program, they support what we do on our website. They support having people like Darren come on and highlight the great work that counselors are doing in our schools. But there's so much more to it than that. You guys are also supporting now as our season presenting sponsor, again, for a second year for New Waverly football. We appreciate that. You guys are also supporting Alpha Omega Academy. Tyler Fordyce at Pack and Ship will be calling those games. You guys are supporting some of that. And many, many other things that y'all are involved in. These folks go above and beyond, and they do it because they care and they're compassionate about serving Huntsville. Do them a favor and serve them in return. And here's the joy of serving them. You're not just serving a company or an organization. You're serving the employees that work there. You're continuing to provide work for them. Folks like Ruthie, who have been there, who have retired.
Yes, 3 or 4 times. It keeps coming back.
Just comes
we
back.
love Ruthie.
Supporting folks like Karen, who's been there, Rachel, Toy, the whole gang, who are working hard to take care of you. So please support them, and let's give back. Just a fraction is all it takes. Just a fraction of what they've given us, and it'll go a long way. We love you. We'll see you back tomorrow as we'll have Jason Thompson, the Thompson family, joining us as always on a Tactical Tuesday, and we'll be back at it. No guests tomorrow, so we'll be just talking. Jamie Salas with us on Wednesday, Terry Coleman with us on Thursday, so we've got a couple of openings. We'll probably get those filled as we usually do. And as I end every show, reminding you this morning, we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We're really not. We need each other. So please provide a word of encouragement, lend a hand of support. I promise somebody out there needs you. Until then, good morning, Huntsville, and God
Have a
bless.
great week.
We'll see you, Karen.
Bye.